For anyone out there who has a goal, it is really, really nice to have support. And a lot of times we are not good at asking for support. A lot of American habits that are like independent are like validated, but it's okay to need support. It's okay to want support. The science behind support is, kind of big strokes here. You are most likely to have the habits of the 5 people closest to you, whether those are people on social media, people in your family, people that you're hanging out with. Know that we influence each other. Whether or not you want it to happen, we influence each other. If all of your friends are out on bikes every weekend and hiking, there's a good chance that you're going to be more of a biker hiker. If all of your friends are staying up super late and just drinking tons of alcohol all the time, there's a good chance you're going to have some of those habits as well. That's not to say we live or die by the habits of those around us, but it does vastly influence our own choices. So being aware of that, how can we use that power of social influence to help us with our goals? So I'm going to just run through a couple tips of how to talk to people, how to establish support, how to deal with situations in social events when people are maybe offering you things and you don't want to make a scene, but you want to also stick by your guns. So I'm just going to run through a few of those. First of all, if you have something that's really important to you, it's really nice if you can find the courage to ask for support. I know it can be scary when you're starting something new. It can be really scary because you don't want to fail and you don't want to tell everyone what you're doing, and then, suddenly you fail, and then there's that extra social accountability. The problem, if you don't let people know what your goals are, they're not going to know how to support you. I have talked to people who had really, really big goals and they were really excited about them. And they were in environments with other people who had very opposite goals. And I would ask them, okay, how are your people at work? How are they responding to this? Are you finding anyone supportive? And then it's well, no one there has healthy habits and I know they wouldn't support me and I'm just really annoyed because they keep offering me donuts. So if you're able to tell people around you what your goals are, you give them a much better chance of actually being able to respond in a healthy way. So getting support from other people involves give and take, for sure. It's about being understanding with them. It's about being understanding with yourself. So learning to receive compliments is a big one. It really, really is. If someone gives you a compliment, like either they say you've been like super active, or they're impressed that you're making sleep a priority, or they're impressed that you were able to, not eat tons and tons of a certain food, and they say something kind, being able to receive a compliment freely is a really big skill. A lot of times when we're feeling self-conscious and we receive a compliment, we like to downplay it. Like if someone says, hey, you look great. What have you been up to? It looks like you're losing weight. A lot of times the response is going to be, oh, I still have so much to go and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm just, you want to downplay it a little bit because you don't want to look, I don't know, maybe vain is the word. That's how it was for me. I really struggled with receiving those types of compliments when I was in that process of the journey. So way, way better when someone gives you a compliment, just say thank you. You don't have to justify, you don't have to explain everything else that's going on. You don't have to minimize by saying, oh yeah, but, and then putting in something else bad. Just say thank you. Help someone realize that when they give you a compliment, you receive that and you are grateful to them. If someone is giving you a compliment and you turn it around and you make it negative and it puts you into this like negative spiral and they see that, they're not going to want to give you more positive feedback. And positive feedback can really, really help you on your journey. So learning to receive compliments. Also, don't set people up. Don't set people up. When you have a goal, you want to make sure that we're not asking questions like, hey, does this habit of mine bother you? Or, the classic, does this make my butt look fat? No one likes that. Don't set people up. You don't want to put them in a spot where they're caught between saying something honest and seeing something, that they don't know what to do. And it's going to make them not want to interact with you about the subject. And it's going to kind of push them out from your support system. So here's the other thing. You can't control what people say. You can control how you react to it. And understand when someone makes a comment, like it really used to bother bother me when people would comment on weight. I had been a yo-yo dieter for years and years, and every time I did a yo-yo diet, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're losing weight," and I'd be like, "Ah," because I knew for me it wasn't about the weight, but when that was all that I was hearing feedback on, it kept my brain kind of in this yo-yo loop. And finally, I realized I can't control what people are saying. They only see a small part of what's going on, and what they see is a physical transformation, and that's okay. Like when someone gives a compliment, understand their intention behind it. Usually it's because they're trying to be supportive, they're trying to reach out. And so when you react to that, understand, you can say something like, "Hey, I thank you so much for your support. It's been really good for me to just be focusing on my healthy habits." So you can reframe it. You don't have to keep it on that subject if it's triggering for you. It definitely was for me. So when we're talking about creating healthy support systems, your formula for success is to first identify the people that you trust who can be healthy support systems for you. So maybe pick 2 or 3 people that you really do trust, that you know love you, that you know want you to have success, and reach out to them and say, "Hey, I have a healthy goal, whatever it's going to be, whether it's exercise or sleep or nutrition. Hey, this is a goal to me." Then explain to them why that goal is important. And it has to be about you. It can't be about them. "I want to do this to make you feel," or "I want to do this so people think." Your goal, in order for people to be excited for you, it has to be about you. So this is why this is important to me. I really just want to feel more energy. I really want to be in control of my choices. I really just want my, energy stabilized. So explain what's important and then say, "Hey, I know that you love me, and I would really appreciate your support. Would it be okay if you," and then give them something positive they can do. What we want to be careful of is not telling people what not to do, because again, that creates this negative framework and they become like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm stepping on toes." But if you give them something really positive to do, then they get really excited. So it's like, "Hey, if when you see me, if you see me out and you see that I'm like sticking with my habits, would it be okay if you just gave me a big high five?" Or, "Hey, if you saw me at a party and you see me kind of struggling with my food choices, can you just maybe give me a big hug? Because, I really just need support right now." Or, "Hey, if you see me and, if you see me at the gym, it's a gym, but if you see me there, can you just give me a high five and tell me thanks for coming?" So give them something positive they can do to be that healthy support. Asking for what you want. It's okay to ask for exactly what you want, especially for people who maybe live with a partner, and people don't always communicate in the same way. And so tell people exactly what you need in a positive way. Tell them those positive things they can do. When I had a partner one time who had just very different habits from me. And it was okay. I didn't expect that person to change their habits for me, but it was really hard when I would wake up and there would be cookies in the kitchen. And so the conversation was, "Hey, I know you support me. I know you love me. And would it be okay if when you make those types of food, you just stored them in a cabinet in this other room? Because it's hard for me with my habits when I see those." And so it was fine. There was just a separate place where he had his stuff, I had my stuff, but I had to be proactive and let that know because I know what my triggers are. So let's move into social. I know right now things are closed down and this might not be as big of an issue, but food is a normal part of life. And for a lot of people, their health goals, a big part of that is getting your nutrition sorted out. So when you are in these social situations, food is always the glue. You're never going to go to a social situation. Well, you might, but there's almost always going to be food there. And people use the food as a way to connect. When you walk into the party, the first thing is, "Oh, hey, come get some food." It's a way to start conversations. It's a way to bring people together. It's a way for people to share love. And we can know this and not fall into it. So 9 times out of 10, the best thing you can say if someone is like, "Oh, hey, thanks so much for coming. Here, have a drink." You can literally just say no. You might want to have all these other justifications and say, "Oh no, I can't do that right now. I'm trying to lose weight," or, "Oh, I can't do that right now. I want to be sober this week." Just say no. Don't make this event about you. Don't make this event about your goals. The events usually are about bringing people together. Focus on that purpose. If someone is like, "No, I made this just for you. I really want you to try it." Something that I like to say that is a really good deflection is, "Oh, that looks amazing. I'll try some later." And I have completed the interaction. I have acknowledged that this offering looks amazing. And if I say, "I'll try some later," 9 times out of 10, again, they completely forget that I didn't eat it at that moment, but the social interaction, the contract of food as bringing people together, it's been fulfilled. And they're like, great, and they move on. They're not going to check back in with me at the end of the event and be like, did you eat it? And then another thing you can do, some of my favorite lines is, hey, have a piece of cake. And I would say, oh my gosh, that looks so good. I ate right before I came, I'm stuffed, but I totally would if I wasn't full. That's another thing you can say. Something else that you could do is, um, I mean, it's a little bit of a fib, but like if someone offers me something like, an Oreo or whatever, I'll be like, oh, that looks great. I just had some, or I had some already, but those are really yummy. And maybe I had some a week ago, a month ago, 2 years ago. But again, the social contract, it's not about the food. The food is there to help you appreciate and connect with that person. If you understand that when people use food as social glue, if you can see it as social glue and use it as a chance to just launch in a conversation with that person instead of turning this whole interaction now into like food shame and you explaining why you can or can't eat it, that was never the point. So when you show up to social events, remember, it's about connection with people. It's about talking with people. It's about creating relationships and friendships. Don't make it about the glue. So now sometimes people get a little weird about it though. And they might be like, oh, you have to, I baked this, I worked so hard, blah, blah, blah. If you have someone who's like die hard on you eating something, I mean, think about like if you're a vegetarian or a meat eater. If someone offered you meat and you were a vegetarian, would you eat it to make them feel better? If someone offered you, like a huge pixie stick and you're a diabetic, would you eat it to make them feel better? So yeah, sometimes people are going to be a little disappointed, but whose disappointment is bigger? Honestly, like you do not need to cater to someone else's small disappointment to create a bigger disappointment for you. If that's going to cause you to have some self-doubt in yourself, or maybe a few days of you going back to old habits. Or for me, like there are certain types of food that just put me in a spiral, a sugar spiral, and then I won't be able to sleep, and I know that I'll be eating other foods. So I'm okay prioritizing my disappointment over someone else's if it's literally just about food. So don't be concerned about disappointing other people. Be really, really clear with what you want, why you want, what the focus of that social interaction was to begin with. So something that I really want to encourage people never to say is the D word, diet. If someone offers you something and you say, I can't, I'm on a diet, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be like, of course you can. You absolutely can. The next thing they're going to do is try to reaffirm that they love and care about you and they love you exactly as you are. And the way they're going to do that is say, of course you can. You can eat this. I don't care how you look. No one cares how you look. It's not about the weight. And if you're saying, I can't, I'm on a diet, they're going to say, bullshit, go ahead and eat this. You're fine. I love you just the way you are. And they're going to double down and might try to push even harder for you to eat something that you don't want to eat. So really avoid that. If someone offers me something and maybe I have a closer relationship with them and I really do kind of want to explain to them where I'm coming from, I'll say, oh, you know what? That looks really good, but I've been eating it in a way where I'm stabilized my energy and, I've just learned to eat in a different way. And I'm just really not interested in eating that. I really like how I feel. And so I have to be a little more picky, and that's fine too. If you're in a situation with someone who you love and connect with and you want to explain a little bit more to them, explain why you're choosing something else, not why you can't do that one specific thing. So that's really helpful. But if you can help people understand that you're saying no to something because it's positive for you and because you feel better, there's no way they're going to be like, oh, well, I want your energy to crash, so eat it anyway. Like, no. So again, keep it positive. When someone offers you something you don't want, say, hey, you know what? That looks really good, but what I found is I've been eating a certain way the past few weeks and I really feel great and I've got really super energy, so I'm just going to pass on that. It's super simple, really positive. It doesn't shame or blame anyone. So also a really just simple tip when you're out and going to these events or parties, hopefully we get back to that soon, bring something you can eat. Bring something healthy. If you don't know if you're going to show up and the entire food table is just being covered with like Twinkies and Little Debbies and all of that, just bring something healthy. Your hostess is going to appreciate it so much if you show up with a huge bowl of something that everyone can share. Double win. You've got something to eat. You've contributed to the party. You've shown you're a good guest. So don't just show up as a leech. If you've got, if you're got some anxiety about this, be proactive. Bring something shareable and something that you feel comfortable with. So let's see. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like maybe this was a little bit rambly, but The biggest thing about creating healthy support is keeping it positive, keeping about what you want to do for you. Your health goals, if you're doing them for anyone other than you, they're going to be really hard to sustain. So get clear on what you want, your positive goals in your life. When people challenge that, don't make it about them. Don't make it about anyone else. Don't make it about, trying to look good for some event or something like that. Be like, hey, you know what? This is important to me because of X, Y, and Z. And so this is going to be my choice. And I thank you for your support, So um, anyway, just some of my thoughts. It's kind of early still and my coffee hasn't kicked in, so sorry if that was kind of rambly, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know. If you guys know anyone that you have seen who is like really pushing to make healthy changes, I would just encourage you to reach out to them and just let them know that you see them and you love them, and say, hey, is there anything I can do to support you? You have no idea how much of a help it makes. And for those of you who are trying to make healthy goals, find your support people. I know it's scary, but reach out, make a list of 3 to 5 people that you know, love, and trust. Reach out to them, be a little bit vulnerable, and say, hey, this is something I'm working on. I would love your support. And then give them really specific things they can do. So anyway, thanks so much, you guys. Bye.